be seated.
Lieutenant Commander Billy Ray Morrow, United States Navy, retired. Billy was born the second of three children to James and Vilma Morrow on September 13, 1929, in Hollis, Oklahoma. He spent most of his younger years growing up on his grandparents' farm, which had been homesteaded during the great land rush of Oklahoma. Billy was a good student in school and excelled with reading and writing skills. As a young man, he worked a variety of jobs, but the one he was most proud of was working at the local newspaper. He started out cleaning up around the building, but quickly rose to typesetter, working 6 days a week. Bill's father, James, served honorably in World War I in France. Unfortunately, he had been exposed to mustard gas twice while serving in France and had the long-standing effects of his health. Eventually, the family was forced to leave Hollis and move to Amarillo, Texas, where they could be closer to the Veterans Hospital. Mr. Morrow's older brother, Jimmy, had enlisted in the Navy and served in the Pacific during World War II. Following in his older brother's footsteps, Billy enlisted in the Navy on September 24, 1946, just days out of his 17th birthday. His career in the Navy began prior to the formal declaration of the end of hostilities of World War II by President Truman. Billy was a true Mustang, and his career continued through the Korean War and on the Vietnam era. He served on numerous assignments, including 10 years aboard the Maddox, the USS Edson, USS Huntington, and USS Brooke, and he served as communications officer at NAVCON State Guam during the late 1960s. Of all his accomplishments, the one he was most proud of was his service on USS Brooke and the former shipmates he kept in touch with through annual reunions. Lieutenant Commander Billy Morrow retired from the Navy on October 1, 1971. On Thursday before Memorial Day, 1953, Billy was set up on a blind date, as I was too, with my wife. So, Kathleen Flood, Millington, Tennessee. The two met playing bingo. I think you played a little bit more than bingo over the years. They had 4 children together: Stephen, Richard, Patricia, and David. Being the Navy family, they moved about every 2 years. They started out at Memphis, moved to Sunnyvale, Westminster, California, Arlington, Virginia, to San Diego, to Guam, back to San Diego, to Bayonne, and then finally back to San Diego, where Billy retired from the Navy and re-entered civilian life. The Morrow family bought a home in San Diego where they have lived for the past 40 years. Sounds like Lori and I. Following retirement from the Navy, Billy continued to serve his country as a government contractor for CSC and ESI. He was instrumental in the installation of several VLF, very low frequency, submarine communication transmission tower sites at remote corners of the world, including northern Maine, northern Scotland, and northwest Australia. He was able to bring Kay along for an extended vacation in Scotland, where they were able to enjoy that long overdue honeymoon. At home, Bill and Kay had purchased several acres in Cuyamaca, where they enjoyed many weekends in the mountains overlooking San Diego. Billy worked long and hard building a cabin in the mountains where they could be more comfortable in their smaller trailer. He enjoyed his time in the peaceful mountain acreage for many years. He loved life and he loved his family. Finally, Billy retired for good at 65. However, retirement was not took too kind of him. On one of his first outings, a visit to family in Art, he stepped in the wrong way while hiking, broke his foot in 5 places. This would cause him to walk with a cane for the rest of his days. Injury was further complicated a few years later when he tripped up and ended up with a broken hip. In this last year, Billy was plagued with suffering several strokes. Who knows about that? Finally diagnosed with cancer. His final days were spent with his family at his side. Billy left this earth to join his Maker on July 26th. He was admired and respected by all the men, and he will be missed. He was preceded in his death by his parents, brother Jimmy, Ralph, and sister Martha Lee. Mr. Morrow survived by his wife of 58 years, Kathleen, children Stephen, Richard, Patricia, David, grandchildren Jeffrey, Andrea, Jessica, Andrew, Victor, Alessa, great-grandson Kieran. Now, that's just some of the official stuff about Billy, and I'm going to give you a little bit unofficial. So, how about the Brooke? Now, when we first commissioned Brooke on March 1966, we were operating up around Naval Ammunition in Bangor, Washington, and we went over to an area called Carr Inlet, and Billy had communications on his department, but we had great difficulty communicating with who we were supposed to. So finally, Billy got a hold of a FM radio, hung in the window of the pilot house, and it worked like a charm. But our call sign turned out to be Scary Sedan. So Billy, that name hung on Billy for quite a while. As a matter of fact, Billy and I met up in Washington many years later. By that time, our captain at the time, Commander Walters, had made 3-star admirals, and he was head of the Surface Naval Warfare. So we went into the office and we handed the aide a note and said, Scary Sedan and XO are here. And with that, the aide went in, the door came flying open, and out came the aide and said, get in here, you two. So, Scary Sedan. And then another night, we were up in San Francisco getting our turbochargers repaired. And the captain and I had been out to supper. We came back. Billy was sound asleep in his stateroom. So he looked at me, he says, okay, Dick, he said, get the camera. So I went into my cabin, which is about across the hallway, got out a Polaroid camera, while the captain ran up to the wardroom and got some plastic lilies that we had. And he put it very quietly on Billy's chest, and I took a picture of that. And that picture, the next day at lunch, we were sitting around the table, and of course I'm to the captain's right, Billy was to the captain's left, and it went Junior all the way around. So the captain handed me the picture. He said, well, what do you make of this, XO? And I said, gee, that's pretty neat. And I handed it this way. Of course, it went down. Every junior officer around the table, they were all laughing. Finally, it gets up to Billy. He was the last one to see it. So that's what a couple of the stories that we had. But
You're going to have to watch what directions you're in.
Yeah. I need my other paper. Okay. Kay and family. We ask for a moment to sit by thy side. The work we have in hand can wait. Away from the sight of thy face, and our heart knows no respite, and our work becomes but an endless toil in the shoaless sea of the turmoil. Today, August is here at our window with its sighs and murmurs, and the bees are plying their minstrelsy at the court of the flowering grove. Now it is our time to sit face to face with thee and to sing a dedication of Billy's life in this gathering of family, friends, and shipmates. And thank you, shipmates, for showing up. All are here to sing these songs. In this hall of life, we've had but a small corner seat. We have had an invitation to this service, and thus our life has been blessed. We come to this offer this small salutation. We have dipped the vessel of our heart into this moment with you. It has been filled with love. The best does not come alone. It comes in the company of all who love you and Billy. The beauty of this day will leave a footprint in our hearts forever. And now, dear Lord, we ask you to take this man to your heart and bless him. Bless this man who has won the kiss of heaven. Make for him a chair on the shore of the endless sea, that when our ship reaches the beaches of the infinity, we may greet and hold him once more. Thank you, Jeff.
So I had to learn this. In Navy tradition, they provide 3 of the shells, and they are representative of 3 things, and they always place them inside the flag. The first one represents honor. Second one represents